Joining us now is an internationally known author and done a lot of speaking on work-life balance. And I'll tell you, as the world continues to get faster and faster, her words of wisdom just become even more important. And also author, by the way, of How to Defuse the Landmines We Plant in Our Lives. Kelly Accetta joins us again. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us again in Memphis. How you doing?
Oh, it is my pleasure to be with you, and I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Terrific. Today, I guess we're talking about, for our listeners, our age group here, we're kind of in the middle. Many have finished maybe raising kids or maybe have some grandkids, but also the caregiving of the aging parent. I think we're finding more and more of that in this age group and in our audience here, and that seems like for those that still work and have to do that, there is a juggling act involved.
Oh, you have no idea how many of us are under this additional stress of caregiving. And there's just, unfortunately, there are not a lot of resources yet. But I want to speak to those listening right now that have this burden of caregiving on their shoulders. There is help on the way. A lot of attention is being put towards this, and they're starting to realize that the strain and the struggle that caregivers are going through is very real.
And this isn't just, it's not just something that's kind of temporary. It really is a journey, isn't it?
It is. And there was a really interesting initiative done by WREC out of Germany, and they found a study of over 3,000 people in 7 different countries, and the statistics that came back were alarming. 55% of caregivers are suffering from physical health problems because they just are the last person on the list of who they're going to take care of. 57% felt that they needed emotional and mental support and they weren't getting it. And 21% felt that their career was being severely affected, and actually 12% had to give up their careers. So it's a very, very real situation that needs some attention.
And Kelly, I would go on the assumption that, they interviewed folks whose parents perhaps had a broad range along the continuum of health. Maybe parents that weren't in great health, to some that maybe were suffering from maybe Alzheimer's or dementia or other physical ailments, which made it an additional challenge for the caregiver on any given day.
Exactly, and I lived it. I was the primary caregiver for my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and special needs brother-in-law, and it was a 10-year journey, and I suffered severe stress, anxiety, all the things that they were talking about. I was the last on the list. I was raising 2 small children at the time as well. I had to stop working and sacrifice over $1 million worth of earnings over the course of 10 years. So it's a very real thing, and I'm just so thankful that it's finally getting some attention. And for those that are listening right now, there are resources out there already. So I really encourage you. Embracing Carers is a new organization that's out on the scene. And also there's going to be a global social media campaign very, very soon called By Day and By Night. And that's going to be another worldwide global support for caregivers.
Okay, and what was the name of the new organization again that you mentioned?
Embracing Carers, CARERS. And also, I really encourage those of you that might be baby boomers, or I'm 51. Just go get a long-term care policy. It's a couple $100 a month, but wow, will it provide for you and take the stress off of your children when it comes time for your long-term care. These facilities are anywhere between $9,000 to $15,000 a month, and Medicare doesn't pay for but maybe a small part of it. And a lot of people don't realize this. I had to find out the hard way. Is my in-laws were below the poverty line. They were existing on Social Security. But because they lived in our home, they didn't qualify for Medicaid for one of a long-term care facility because they took my husband's and my income as the basis of whether or not they qualify.
Wow.
So it's a really bad trap. Once you're in it, you cannot get help from the government. And for me, the government was saving a fortune on my back.
Wow.
Because they didn't have to provide for my in-laws.
Would it be a decent idea for someone to perhaps just have a chat with a financial planner who may see this coming down the pike pretty soon, just to look at some decisions that may need to be made 1 year, 5 years from now?
The sooner the better. Meet with your financial planner, but there's also people that are specialists in long-term care and how to construct your estate so that you're provided for and you aren't a financial burden on your children.
Kelly, always great to talk with you. The book that she has out, How to Defuse the Landmines We Plant in Our Lives. But today our topic is on the juggling act of caregiving and work. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And please don't be a stranger. We hope to catch you again very, very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Memphis Morning News, 642.